Hey everybody, MrClearrox here. I'd like to welcome you guys to MrClearrox's Story Time. So I'd like to introduce the piece that we're going to be reading today. Today is Faces by yours truly, MrClearrox. So please listen and enjoy this beautiful story that I have crafted for you. About 6 months ago, I recently moved to a small farm abode out in the middle of nowhere. At first it was cool because I was only like 45 minutes from Nashville, so I still had my friends come see me, and vice versa. As time went on, however, this slowly changed. The friends I once had slowly stopped coming. We stopped talking. It was as if they were upset with me. My best friend Charlie was one of the few to stick around. Just about every weekend, he would drive up from Nashville and stay with me. Just like the others had done, he had begun to change. Week after week went by, and every time I had seen him, he would look progressively empty. He looked deathly pale, but this wasn't the most alarming part. His eyes were empty. No emotion in them. They were cold, dark, and scared. Being concerned for his health and mine, I hesitantly asked him why he looked so sickly. He simply shook his head and told me he had no idea what I was talking about. He had to have noticed what I mean, those eyes, they were dying. Some more time passed, and I was tired of the country, so I decided to go stay with Charlie for a week in Nashville. The visit was fun and all, but that's not what's important. On the ride home, I saw something that horrified me. On sight of this thing, I could feel my skin try to pull itself away from the bone. It was a road sign, like you would see on the interstate, but it was a bloody mess. As I got closer, I could make out what appeared as a human face. The skin was stretched to an extreme condition, to where it was covering the entire front side of the sign. I was so scared, all I could do was just tug my head and slam on the gas pedal. It was the longest drive of my life. When I finally got home, I burst into the door and immediately ran to the phone. I had to call someone. I was just too scared to wait for the police to come. But I had to do something. I dialed 911 and explained to them what I had seen. Like I said earlier, I was too scared to wait. I went upstairs and locked myself in my bathroom and pulled the shower curtain open to see if someone or something was behind it. While in hiding, I called Charlie, just to have someone to talk to and comfort me until the police arrived. I dialed the number, and the phone rang, and rang, and rang. There was no answer. A few minutes went by, and there was a knocking on my front door. I was not going to even think of leaving my bathroom until one of the officers had shouted, "It's the police! Open the door." I bolted to my front door and let them in. A sensation of safety spread through my veins. I let them in, and they proceeded to tell me that they didn't find the face. My heart fell into my stomach. Seeing the fear in my eyes, they offered to leave an officer to stand guard over the night. I instantly accepted. I was not going to stay in this house alone. I tried to relax for the rest of the day, but it was impossible. I was terrified as of to where that face had gone. I knew I wasn't crazy, because it was too real to be a figment of my imagination. I once again called Charlie, but there was still no answer. That night, sleep did not exist in my household. I laid awake in my bed under the covers, praying for safety, praying for life, praying to wake up and see the light of day once again. I finally fell asleep. I awoke fairly quickly from falling asleep. I was awakened by a small screeching sound. I ignored it and hoped that it would disappear. I began to hear lots of creaks and groans around the house, and I just assumed that it was the house making noises. And I was just scared, so I was overthinking it. I just laid there under my covers, scared. I heard a thump sound from the corner of my room. I threw my covers away and lost all sanity left in my broken mind. It was Charlie's face, stretched tightly across my closet door. His body was turned to a bloody pulp that laid on the floor in front of my closet door. I panicked frantically. I began screaming hysterically. I was about to leap from my bed and rush to the police officer when I felt a hand as heavy as lead fall over my mouth. This hand pushed my head back down into my pillow and muffled my screams. My eyes jumped to his face. It was a deep gray slab of what looked like stone. His eyes were black as night. I could see the horrified look on my face and the reflection coming from his eyes. It was over, and I knew it. I was going to die right here in my own home in my own bed. My face was going to be stretched on some extreme degree. I just gave in. Stopped the struggle and gave in. The fleshy hand dug into the right side of my face. He started to rip the flesh away from the skull when the officer burst into my room and discharged 3 rounds from his weapon. The dark being scattered and bolted out my window. I haven't seen him since. It's been about a week since I had seen this figure, but I've still been hearing those sounds in my new apartment back in Nashville. He's still after me, and I know it. My time is short, and I'm writing this to warn you. If you hear any noises over the next few days, little creaks and groans around your house, please run for your life. Do not stop. Do not just run. Run until you can no longer continue. I don't have much more time, so I need to tell you the most important detail for your safety. When you see his face, you must...
I've become so numb, I can't feel you there. I've become so tired, so much more of where I'm becoming. This is all I want to do, is be more